Hello, hello. Much better. Hello and welcome to another episode of Fit, Fine, and Flowing with Sasha Janae. Ladies, so good to be back with you. I definitely missed you so much, but today had hands, and I'm just sitting here and I'm processing the day of today. And I just have to let you know it had hands, but we're here, we made it, and this is a part of like the journey. This is a part of the discipline journey. This is a part of making sure that even though everything doesn't go how you expected today, I got so many curveballs today, but I'm here and I'm present and I'm in the moment with you ladies. So hopefully that inspires you. If you are not having the greatest week or if you get hit with a couple curveballs, show up anyway, because there's a blessing in showing up anyways. So very happy to be with you ladies. Happy Wednesday. I hope that everything is going well for you so far. I hope that if you've dedicated to your workouts, I hope that if you've dedicated to getting on point with your nutrition, I hope that you're sticking to it. I think that's going to be really important moving forward here. So I'm excited to be in this space and on episode 9 with you ladies. And we had a little series going about discipline. We spoke about physical discipline. We spoke about discipline with yourself and your heart. We spoke about discipline with dating. And so now we have like another discipline. And I'm going to call this episode a discipline challenge. So before we get into the episode, ladies, I want to do peaks and valleys. Let's go with the flow of Fit, Fine, and Flowing, peaks and valleys. So my peak of the week, I've been outside a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I've been outside kind of unexpectedly, but I went out with my girl again and we caught a neo soul concert and it was a really, really good time. Again, a bunch of beautiful people in one space. We're singing, we're dancing, and they had a taco place next door. So of course I needed to hit my protein goals. I got myself a burrito. It was a really good time. I think it was nice to get away. It was an unexpected surprise. So I would say that's my peak of the week. Also, my peak of the week was the fact that I told you ladies last week that I have committed to 75 hard. Of course, my personal variation, which my variation is 4 days of 2-a-day workouts, and then 3 days where I can wild card and do just one workout. If I can fit in the 2, I will, because life is a little unpredictable. I'm not eating fast food. I am reading 10 pages a day. So I am committed to 75 days of getting myself in gear and disciplined for the summer, because it's not going to be a hot girl summer, but we're going to have a little fun and I want to be fit and I want to feel amazing in my body. So this is honestly a moment where I'm like, cheers to the best body that I've ever had in my life. And I'm really excited for what's coming and the body that I'm building and the discipline that I'm building and the mindset that's all going to come with it. So when it comes to my valley, I guess my valley is feeling like, okay, I'm in my ovulation phase. I am struggling between my emotions and ovulation, which is my bad bitch mode, right? But because there's so much going on around me, I feel like I'm not able to fully embrace and step into that energy. So it's just been an interesting last couple of weeks, but it's been an interesting week. I think that my valley is, it's just being emotional, but I can say that I haven't allowed my emotions to rule me. When I have a moment, I cry. When it's time to put on my big girl panties, I'm chilling. So it is what it is. It's been a pretty mellow week. There's nothing detrimental that has happened, and we're here. We've made it. As long as we make it here with you ladies, you know the valley wasn't too low, and you know the peak was pretty high. So I want to go ahead and get into today's, I almost said today's word. I want to go ahead and get into today's episode with you ladies. And I'm going to be honest. When I put this episode together, it was coming from personal experiences. Now that I'm I'm like, okay, it's time to get into character. Psh, time to do the episode. And I'm just kind of going over my notes just to make sure I don't stumble too much over my words. I feel like this episode is a little challenging because it's me and a mirror. You guys don't see it, and maybe you'll see like behind the scenes pictures on my Instagram and stuff like that. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Fit Fine and Flowing, and then I am also on X as SJ the Fit Bae, and I'm also on Facebook as Sasha Janae. So follow me on all the platforms so you can see the behind the scenes stuff, right? But there's a mirror that I set up next to the camera so I can just make sure that I'm put together and I look the way that I want to look in front of y'all, okay? With that being said, it's so funny that this episode is metaphorically a mirror for my life right now. So not too much on me, but if you can relate, let's grow together. I already spoke to both of my best girls. I had a fallout, I had a fall down, and they both gave me the most beautiful, encouraging words and reminded me who I was. And sometimes I feel like we need that. And sometimes I feel like we also need to just sit in our emotions and feel them, but don't let them rule us. And I think that that's very, very important. So this episode is episode 9, okay? Protect your body, protect your peace, stop letting people undo your progress. So this one kind of hits home because I have been in spaces before where I've been where I'm supposed to be at, on point, physically, mentally, business, job, kids, home, blah, 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 blah. But my heart is mixed up with something my heart doesn't have any business mixed up with. So I just want to let you guys know that I think that this is a normal woman experience as long as we at some point grow from it. We got to grow through it. It's not time to play games anymore. It's not time to to hold out hopeless romantic hope. Sometimes you just got to get a little strict with yourself. And that's why I'm very thankful for my circle, because they don't allow me to get too whimsical. They bring me back to reality. And we're here. So the same discipline you use in the gym needs to show up in your relationships and your boundaries. This is not just romantic relationships. This is relationships with your core people, your village, your family, your workmates, all of that stuff. I'm very good at setting boundaries with my workmates because I just feel like Big Mama don't play that. Like, you're not going to talk to me any old kind of way. You're going to be respectful. You're going to do basically what I say because I'm a manager, but not throwing my title around. It's just that I don't let them cross boundaries. And so that same spice that I hold for my workmates, my coworkers, because I'm from Australia, my mates, anyways, the same boundaries that I hold for them is what I should be holding space for in every relationship in my life. And a lot of times my romantic relationships fall short of my boundaries because I'm just a lover girl, but I'm an adult lover girl. I'm a grown woman lover girl, and I'm learning from my mistakes. So navigating through this can kind of just be a little bit different, but that's why I have you ladies, and that's why you ladies have me. So, we've been talking about discipline, healing, growth, all that stuff like that, right? But if we can just get a little spicy for a second, when it comes to this being a fitness podcast, which we're fitness lifestyle, because this is a journey, this is not, there's no destination, right? I feel like I'm so strict. I'll use me for an example. I'm so strict with my nutrition. Like, my macros today, I ate like 4 freaking pieces of chicken breast just to hit my protein. My protein goal is 170 and I hit it, okay? I wanted something sweet, I had a protein bar. Like, I stuck meticulously to my macros today, and ever since I've been on this challenge, I'm doing my workouts. I didn't feel like working out today. I felt like laying in bed and rolling around. Why me, right? I showed up to my workout. I even have I feel like I have like a little tiny injury. I worked out through it, and I was uncaffeinated, which goes to show like my discipline now, it's a routine, because where would I be without my workout and my routine, right? So why are we doing all this work physically, right? Why are we making all these commitments just to let the wrong people come in and undo your progress? And I want you to sit with that for a second. I want you to sit with that for a second, because there's all types of relationships that we hold space for that can potentially slow us down in our journey and stop what motion that we have going. And if we're not aware of these people that we're just allowing to come into our lives, that are uprooting all the work and all the seeds that we've been planting and watering for this whatever amount of time you have been, then you have just basically did all that work for no reason. And I just want to encourage you and say, like, you didn't do the work for no reason. If there's a root in that seed, then you have something to work with. And I want to say, go over it as many times as you want, as many times as you need to. But at the same time, I want to get serious and intentional, because not from a standpoint of we're running out of time, but more so from a standpoint of, do you want to keep running into the same wall? No. Do you want to keep having the same bad feelings? Do you want to keep feeling used? Do you want to keep feeling unappreciated? Do you want to keep feeling like somebody's doormat? Absolutely not. So why are we only applying the discipline externally and not internally? It's not just physical. Gym consistency, like I say, fitness is not life, but a fitness journey, a routine is going to be an anchor to hold things in place when everything around you is swirling. How did I center myself today? Because today had hands. How did I center myself? I got myself to class. I took a class because I could have walked the bridge. I felt like my mind would have been just too all over the place. And I said walk the bridge. I could have walked the bridge, okay? I feel like my mind would have been a little bit too all over the place. So I went and tried a new class. It was cardio, it was weightlifting, it was super challenging, and it did nothing but focus my mind in on my body and what needed to be done. And here we are. So showing up physically but not emotionally is going to be to our detriment. We have to grow emotional intelligence. We have to grow emotional strength. The way I was crying today, my bestie is going to watch this and be like, girl, what? You are so fake, because you was just saying. But no, what she did was she helped me remember who I was. We're all going to have those weak moments, but that lets me know, okay, now I need to focus on building my emotional intelligence so that I don't continue to end up in the same space. Now, why are you so disciplined in the gym but weak with your boundaries? You have to figure out, that's a rhetorical question. You have to figure out, what is it that allows me to be very strict in this space of life and not strict in this space of life? And if we're talking about romantic relationships, the partner that you're with, they can make or break your success. They can keep you in dysfunctional patterns, or they can help you to break them. You guys can grow together, or you can literally stay in the same square of life for the rest of your life and wonder why you're not happy, okay? You don't want to settle. You don't want to be in that space. So that's why we have to apply some emotional intelligence and start to build on that discipline in that particular area of our life, okay? Now, we wake up early, we hit our workouts, we track our food, but usually we let somebody come into our life and you want to sleep 10 more minutes just because you're up under some big, strong biceps. You are a little bit more lenient with your food and not strict with your nutrition and your boundaries just because this person decides they want to go out and have eating habits that you don't share with them, right? It can throw off your peace, it can throw off your routine, and it can throw off your overall focus. I have strict discipline and goals in place for myself right now because I'm building my brand, I'm building my business, I'm building something for my family. So if I have the wrong partner in my space, it could completely distract me from what I'm focused on. And that is really, really something that I've had to intentionally focus on over my years of adulthood. I would say discipline isn't just what you do with yourself. It's really what you tolerate in your life. And that's really just what it comes down to. So what are you tolerating in your life? Now, energy affects your body. If you're around somebody, right, that is bringing down your whole vibe, your whole energy, just like 48 Laws of Power says, avoid the unlucky and the unhappy, because those people are kind of like a black hole and they just kind of suck you in. And you'll notice it if you encounter people, like I used to have to change my mindset. I used to come encounter people because every time we would like meet up or like it's work people, not at this current job, guys, just so you know. And every time we would encounter each other, we would like have this competition about who's more tired. We'd be like, oh, I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. You know, it'd always be that. And sometimes I'd be like, damn, that's crazy. I just said that to say it because I'm actually not tired. And I realized about myself, like, that's just something people say. And I feel like it's stinking thinking because we're all just kind of gravitating towards the negative because that's so much easier. But when people start to say that to me now, I'd be like, man, I'm so sorry you're tired. I got enough rest last night. Yeah, I feel like maybe I can use a coffee. I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired, unless I literally felt that way. And it kind of changed the conversation a little bit. So I say that to say, negative energy is going to affect your body. It's going to affect your surroundings. Physically, when we're talking health and fitness, if you are with a partner or a situationship that is stressing you out, guess what's going to go up? Your cortisol. I feel like I'm the number one enemy of cortisol because I want to educate y'all about cortisol. I want you guys to understand, I want you ladies to recognize when things are throwing your nervous system off, causing your cortisol to spike. Now, do we need cortisol? Absolutely. That's going to be a required hormone in your body that makes you respond to particular situations, but we do not need it in excess and we do not need it to spike, because when it spikes and when cortisol is in excess, that's when you're looking at sending your body into panic mode, and we're looking at weight retention. We're looking at that for my 30 plus women, we're looking at that midsection fat that doesn't want to go anywhere. It's because we're so stressed. That's why it's important for you to move your body. That's why it's important for you to regulate your nervous system. Figure out what in your life is throwing you off your focus, because you can be in the gym, you could be working out, you could be on your nutrition, but if you have a stressful situation, you're either going to look bad in a sense of you're going to lose way too much weight, or you're not going to be able to lose weight. And that just depends on your specific body type. But either way, you're not looking healthy. And the goal is to get healthy. Okay. So cortisol equals weight retention, fatigue, and cravings. This is stress eating. Whenever I'm stressed, I want chocolate. Today I was stressed. I needed something sweet so bad. But remember, I'm on my nutrition discipline, 75 hard. So instead of just going and grabbing a cookie or a cupcake, I went and grabbed a protein bar, 20 grams of protein. It tasted like a cookie, as cookie-ish as protein can taste. And boom, craving was nipped in the bud. And I encourage you guys to be intentional and to realize this about yourself, to change a behavior. And then also try and figure out, like, what's the root cause of the stress? Like, what am I stressing over? I luckily had the opportunity to call my girls and talk about it. It made me feel validated. It made me feel like I could exhale, because I've been walking around lately with a couple things on my heart and my mind, and it makes me feel like I'm just walking around holding my breath, and I know that cannot be good for my cortisol. So toxic people, toxic relationships, toxic situations. This doesn't just have to be romantic, but romantic is going to be probably the most constant relationship. Hell, my kids stress me out, but I will never let them spark my cortisol. I will drop kick them before they do that. So if you're wondering why your body isn't responding to the workouts and the nutrition and the A, B, C, and D that you're doing, it's literally probably because you're dealing with cortisol hormone in excess, okay? Your nervous system constantly stressed out, people that you're dealing with. I had a little rough patch at work where for about 2 months, I feel like it was the Sasha, We Hate Sasha Club. That did not serve me in that little space. I definitely I had munchies all day, and I'd be like, oh my God, I am stress eating. These people are not going to stress me out. And then I had to reframe my thinking, and I had to reframe my actions, and I had to get down to the solution-based mindset that I'm really, really working hard to be intentional about. And boom, we're in a better space. Okay. Now we protect, like I said, we protect our calories, but not our energy. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a romantic relationship. It doesn't matter how good they look. It doesn't matter how good they smell. It just doesn't matter. You have to avoid that toxic person and that negative energy at all costs. Because one thing that we talked about in the last episode is we recognize the red flags, but guess what? We do our best to explain the red flags away, and then we're sitting here looking like a goofball because we decided to play Boo Boo the Fool and think that we can change somebody and think that we can explain something away that was very, very visibly there in the beginning, okay? If you don't become intentional about who you're entertaining and you entertain anybody, all the hard work that you're putting into your body and all the hard work that you're putting into your business, it's hard because you're not being watchful over who you allow in your circle. And I think that's a huge deal because that circle is going to make or break you in the long run. Okay. Now, distraction versus alignment. Sometimes we have a person in our life and we can't tell the difference. Oh my God, it seems like we have so much in common. I have so much fun with this person. If it's in a romantic relationship, they're so my type. If it's just a friend, wow, I haven't had like this much friendship spark in a long time, right? And you have to understand if this person is making you feel like you have to deviate from anything that you're normally focused on, that person is probably not aligned with you, and that person is very likely a distraction. Sometimes I say to myself, like, let's say 10 years ago, the person that I met who's my baby daddy, he was a distraction. I just didn't see it back then. And if I hadn't had that interaction, I didn't engage in that relationship, and I didn't explain away those red flags, success-wise, I would be much further along. Now, what came from it, we had our beautiful daughter, la, 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 la. I wouldn't trade her for the world, but I will acknowledge and take accountability for the fact that I could have been in a different space had I been as focused as I am today back then, okay? So, situationships. A situationship is not a healthy relationship. I do not care how you try to frame it. And I am looking in the mirror, I'm looking at the camera, but I'm looking in the mirror when I say this because it is so easy. If you like what's happening with another person, it's so easy to try and validate all the red flags. Baby, let it go. Save yourself heartache, save yourself wasted time, save yourself wasted tears, especially if you're a lover girl like me, just let it go. It's easier said than done. But once you can set those boundaries in your life, and then you can look back and say, damn, I dodged a bullet, that's going to mean the world to you. You're going to be that much further in life than you normally would. Okay. Now, losing focus, that's goes without being said. That's common sense. Of course, they're going to throw off your focus. They eat junk food and they eat out all the time and they want to go to the bar and they want to drink. Well, you barely drink. You don't eat junk food. What's going to happen here? They're going to bring you down. I think, let me not lie. My mom used to say it was in the Bible, but I don't know if it's in the Bible or it's just a principle. But if you hang, oh, no, not in the Bible, my bad. So there's a saying that says if you hang around 10 broke people, if you hang around 9 broke people, you'll become the 10th, right? If you hang around 9 rich people, you'll become the 10th. So whoever you hang around the most, whoever's your constant circle and crowd, that's who you're going to become like. You could be the most outstanding person, but if you go into a dark space, your light is going to start to dim. And that has everything to do with a romantic relationship. That has everything to do with family, friends, work. The people that you keep, the company you keep is of the utmost importance. Now, you have to always consider not every connection is a blessing, okay? Obviously. Do they add to your life or do they distract you from becoming who you see yourself as? And sometimes when it comes to romance, we wear these, us women, me, I'm a lover girl, I'll wear these rosy colored glasses and I just can't see this person doing no wrong. And that's why it's important to have a strong village around you because they're going to say, girl, well, he did say this. So how do you feel about it? And none of my village doesn't push me in any direction. They ask me questions that are usually rhetorical that I can reflect on for myself and say, you know what? That's right. I can make a different decision in this situation. I can move forward in this way. And sometimes we're hard-headed and we just want to do what we want to do. But it's also time to start to grow from that place. Otherwise, you're going to continue to have the same experiences over and over again. Okay. Not everybody is meant to grow with you. I used to be the type of woman that wanted to save everybody. You can't save everybody. This goes for friends, family members, romantic relationships. If that person can't do it for themselves and hasn't done it for themselves, what makes you think that you're going to come in and make a difference, especially if it's a woman dynamic and a male dynamic? If that man hasn't chosen to get himself out of the space he's in, if it's a low space, a bad space, blah, 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 what makes you think that you're going to make the difference? Especially at this big age where most of these men have kids. If they can't get their stuff together for their kids, why in the world would he get his stuff together for a woman? You know what I'm saying? That has to be his journey. It's not your responsibility to spark his journey. It's not your responsibility to have to stand next to him as he builds. I don't want, moving forward, I can personally say, I do not want to be with another man that is in building phase. Now, will we grow together? Yes, but in different ways. But if he's in a building phase, go build your house. And if I'm still here, come see about me. And I feel like moving forward, operating in that way, I'll avoid a lot of heartache and a lot of just wasted time, honestly. Now, some people are meant to delay you. Like I said, I had a situation like that 10 years ago. Huge delay on my life, on my calling, on all of that. But here we are today, and now I can change it. Now I can do better. Now I can be a better woman because of it. And then you also have to figure out, what is your constant? Fitness is my constant in my routine. So when I feel myself start to slip away, when I feel myself start to lose focus, when I feel myself start to center a relationship that shouldn't be centered, I got to take a step back and I got to hit my routine. Okay, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go walk your bridge, go to work, come home, work out, take care of the kids, do some journaling, do some self-reflection, go to bed. Get your head in the game. Because I feel like we don't have time to waste, especially if you have goals and a business to build and you have kids looking up to you. I have 2 daughters and a son. There's a certain way that I have to carry myself because I want my son to encounter a good, strong woman. So I have to carry myself that way. I have to operate in wisdom and intelligence, right? In the same sense, my daughters, I don't want my daughters to grow up and have this skewed sense of the Disney princess mentality and always be waiting for somebody to come sweep them off their feet, or feel like they can't do and make a move unless they're attached to somebody. No, I want to build 3 young people that are strong and independent. If they choose entrepreneurship, fantastic. If they choose to work a job, whatever they do, I want them to be great in it. I want them to be focused. I want them to be successful. So the only thing I can do is obviously show them. Why does your routine fall apart every single time you're emotionally distracted? Well, because we be having big feelings, like we're girls. We are emotion, okay? That's why. But we have to start to have a big brain, and we have to start pulling up our big girl panties, and we have to start understanding, listen, this isn't good for me, and you have to walk away. Because one thing about it is the person or thing that's distracting you is never going to say, hey, you know what? I'm a distraction. I'm out of here. Good luck with everything because you need to build. That's very, very rarely going to happen. No, you're going to have to be the one to say, hey, listen, I got to step away from it. And I think that's one thing that I probably struggle with the most. So if that's something that you struggle with, ladies, I'm in the same boat with you, but we're not sitting. We're growing. We're moving forward from this. We're recognizing, we're taking accountability, and we're saying what we don't want because we're starting to understand ourselves. And as we start to understand ourselves, we can say what I actually do want. And once you start to realize and understand what you do want, you can actually move forward and you can gain some momentum. I'm not saying that the journey is going to be perfect with that realization, but I'm saying that you'll be able to move forward in your journey. And every so often when there is a space where you fall short, you're building your village with strong people that will hold you accountable to your boundaries. And that's all I want for myself, and that's all that I want for my girl. We could get into all that, like you were good until you started talking to him, and you know, you changed in this and that and all that stuff like that. We're old enough to hold ourselves accountable. You know where you fall short. And I think a lot of times we're just moving so fast through these emotions, and we're so happy sometimes to like catch a fish that we're really not stopping and thinking, hey, is this good for me? Is he good for me? You know what I'm saying? He's on my mind all day. In theory, that's beautiful and romantic and sexy, but he's on my mind all day. No, I have this podcast. I have this brand. I have this business. I have my babies. I have God. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many more things that need to be on my mind. Not to say that my man would go on my back burner, but until he's my man, and maybe until there's a ring on my finger, like, yeah, he's got to come secondary to everything, because I need to be able to emotionally function on my 2 feet, to financially function on my 2 feet, etc. I hope that this isn't too much for y'all. I hope that this just puts this space of discipline into perspective for you, okay? We're in our glow up season. This is where it's time to start flowing and growing. So the best thing that we can do is literally do this thing together. This is fit, fine, and flowing. So you got to understand, fit is our body getting stronger. We're already doing that. We're already on that. And if you're not, listen, today's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's get it together. Reach out to me. I got another health coach client today, and I guess that was a part of my peaks. And it was just a conversation, just a simple conversation. She's like, wow, you're a health coach. Well, what do you do? And I explained to her, like, listen, it's my job to work with you to achieve your goals. And she's like, well, what are your rates? And we exchange information, and all of a sudden I have a new client, and I didn't even expect it, okay? So fitness, you have your body is getting stronger, okay? Fine, your confidence is higher because you're intentionally working towards building your mindset. I'm on 75 hard, not only because I want to be the sexiest I ever been and make you little boys cry, right? But mostly because I need my mindset in order, because this is my pivot year. That's what I'm reading right now. If you guys were curious, I'm reading Pivot Year by Brianna Weiss. This is my pivot year. Last year should have been my pivot year. The year before that should have been my pivot year, but my mind wasn't in order. So now what I'm doing is I'm keeping all that in the forefront of my mind. That way I can continue to grow and not lose sight of the goals that I have. Because if I don't get where I need to get, then some of you guys won't be where you need to be, because I have a job. Like, God is putting me in this position to build for y'all and to help you guys learn and grow as well. And flowing. We're flowing. Our life is peaceful. Our life is aligned. And that has so much to do with the people that we attach ourselves to. I feel like my village has never been stronger, and this is just the beginning. I feel like writing over here, I was just thinking to myself, like, what a blessing it is to finally understand where my mom was coming from. And I know that's such a random thought, but it comes with having that strong village. And if you're blessed to have your mom around, listen, once you start to understand the method to their madness, like not madness, but just for lack of better words. Like when I was a kid, I didn't understand why my mom operated a particular way she operated. Now I get it 100%. Some things I did that disappointed my mom, I didn't understand what's the big deal? I have to make my own mistakes, Mom. But now as a mother, as a woman, you know, in this space, I'm like, holy smokes, I totally get it. And it's beautiful because I have even more trust for her, which is crazy because how do you not, you know, not that I didn't have trust, but like, how can you unlock another level of trust? But also it's like, dang, like I feel like I wish I could erase all the times that I let her down. You know what I'm saying? And so my mom is the head of my strong village. Then I got my girls that I can literally be ugly crying, snot dripping down my face, and they're not going to slap me. They're not going to make fun of me. They're going to hold me accountable, and they're going to help me through it. They're going to help me navigate through it, and I them. And that puts me in such a peaceful space, and that allows me to flow, because otherwise I'm just sitting here and I'm crying and I'm looking ugly. Now I have my village where I can be put back into a space of flow if I can't find it myself. And anything that doesn't belong needs to get out. You have to sever ties with anything that doesn't belong. I am the worst at severing ties. It's actually ridiculous. And it's just because I'm always hopeful for people. Like I believe in mankind, but sometimes you have to let that stuff go, and you have to apply discernment, and you have to apply intuition. And unfortunately, everybody's not good for you. It's not that they're not good, they're just not good for you. And that's okay. If you're in this season, you have to remember to stop letting temporary people have permanent access to you, okay? And also, I want you ladies to do a little bit of homework and maybe write 5 things that you're no longer tolerating. And I think that that's important, because if you write the vision, make it plain, maybe when that person comes back, because if you have a test and you fail it, you're always going to have that test again until you pass it, right? So maybe that entity that is something that you say you don't want to tolerate anymore comes back around. Guess what? It's in your mind, it's in your heart, and now you've written it down on paper so it can come to life and it could stop that negative interaction right in its tracks. So I think that's really important. Stop letting people undo what you prayed for, okay? Your body cannot thrive in a stressful environment. You don't need motivation, you need boundaries. You need boundaries and you need a routine. They go hand in hand with each other. And also, sometimes you got to go work out. You got to hit the weights. Tonight when I was in class, and this was a new class that I was taking, I'm not necessarily going to say new people because I work at the gym, so I know everybody, right? I'm literally working out and I'm choking back tears, not only because I'm sweating and this shit is hard, but because it was the immense release that I felt, and the endorphins and the serotonin and all that stuff that happens in your body when you're working out and you're getting a good workout. And it was overwhelming for a second. So every, so often during the class, I was like, and I had to hold that back because I needed that release. It stabilizes my mental health, okay? It stabilizes me. It reminds me that I'm okay, that I'm still standing on my 2 feet. So I think that this episode might have been heavy for you, a little bit heavy for me, just because I'm looking in the mirror talking to y'all. But I do appreciate you guys for coming. And this has been another episode of Fit, Fine, and Flowing. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.